Looks like a mugshot. Well, since my baby left me.
That's all.
What, YouTube? Hi, YouTubers. I don't think they can see me anyway.
We'll talk Joe Biden's first victim, inauguration eve, interesting thoughts and perspective, all that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Here's your water. Your headphones.
Yeah.
I just stand here.
When I do this, turn the mics on. Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you today?
I'm good. I don't hear anything in my headphones, but that doesn't mean that they're not working.
Means that you're not working.
Is this microphone on?
It looks like it's on.
Hello?
This
Hello?
one's on. I think we're good.
Look, there's nothing coming out of that microphone. You see that?
I see that.
Hello? Well, since my baby left me.
Let's.
I'm in dead Mikeville. That's okay, though. I'm not upset. It's new. It's a new situation.
Let's try this.
Is that better? No.
No, your mic is dead. Grab that other mic over right there.
Okay, hang on.
Grab that mic.
I'll do that. Hang on.
Okay. We should have tested the mics first. That one's working. I can hear it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Watch this. Ah!
They won't be able to see you.
I don't want to see me. There you go. Oh, I was so comfortable.
Uh-oh. That's still low.
Yeah. I'm down here. And that's where I belong, in a subservient position to you, much like when you walk into a room and a dog just flips over on its back. Intimidated.
You want that?
Yes. Still trying. This fireside chat with me and Ash brought to you by Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. It's 64 degrees and cloudy in Victoria. Heading to a high today of 73 under cloudy skies. You know the drill. It's supposed to rain Wednesday. And
Rained on me a little bit this morning
Saturday,
coming in.
Sunday, there was some drizzle coming in. The roads are wet. The Allen's Wrecker Service traffic advisory is in effect.
Drizzle, I had a full-on pour on me.
Now, see, I'm barely hearing
I
you.
got nothing now. No, I have nothing.
Yeah, you have nothing. Maybe we're putting too much power through the grid, Captain. Oh, but that sounds good.
No, nope, nothing.
No, folks, we could share a mic like Donnie and Marie. I brushed my teeth.
I'm going to bring that one over.
All right, go get it. Tell you what I'll do. I'll get you folks started. Why don't I do this right quick? Tell you this, Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. They help bring us the program every day. If you have a car that won't go, you have a car that needs to get over to Atzenhofer, Allen's Wrecker Service at 578-6300 is your go-to tow-to. They will take care of you and your family and make sure you're safe. And I'm laughing at Ash. She's beautiful. You can loosen this and slide that mic down.
I'm going to have to, but I didn't want to hit you in the head with it.
Just good to know Allen's is there. The BCS Company's Rocket Oilfield Services and the only local owner and authorized AT&T retailer will be on our banner when our banner arrives. We're in our new studio. Those of you listening on Magic 95.9, soon, if not right now, should enjoy a tremendous signal. Very excited about more than doubling our radio coverage area. So that's going to be great. It used to be that, if you coughed while you passed Guadalajara, you lost our signal. I think those days are about to be over.
Got nothing.
But the VCS companies did the work over here. Brought in the cables, we're not
That might have been a problem. looked like it was out.
I'm just having it's like Keystone Cops
It
watching
really
the
is.
match. He had a mic work all ago, but 2 mics refused to work. And then Jesse Furniture Company, 116 West
This one again.
in the corner of Wanman and Bridge, over 100 years, 70 at that location. So there you
Is
go.
that better? No. Well, there we go. A little bit. I really got to get on this thing. Like I'm.
Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I don't. It's real low. I don't know what the issue is
I
here.
don't know. We'll
Me
figure
either.
This is it. We're gonna have a couple of growing pains. In fact, I think I put it on the prelude to the show. Hey, we're trying.
How's this? Any better? I really got to speak up into this thing. I don't like that.
You look good though. I don't care what they say about you.
I see the top of your head
Yeah,
on
there I go.
on Facebook.
Jesse Furniture Company, 116 West Wanman corner, Wanman and Bridge. Been there for 70 years, 101 years in business. And then Veracruz Restaurant. Today is the day before, called a Wednesday. So you definitely want to get in there, enjoy the fine offerings. Veracruz with the queso, the guac, the hot sauce, the fresh chips. Just the best Mexican food in the region. Actually, I like the seated version of this show. I
We need
feel like
two
Jimmy
chairs.
Carter back in '78 with the Fireside Chat.
We need 2 chairs. Yeah, this mic is.
Terrible. But it's nobody's fault. We're not there. You sound better when that mic's off.
Yeah, imagine that.
So it's interesting because you're the guy with all the content, so you might as well find a way to join me here. Fireside. You want to sit on my lap? You can be we could do like a ventriloquist act. Like I could ask questions and then you can answer. And I could act like I was moving my mouth while you did it.
I don't want to know where your hand goes.
Let's see.
Oh, let's see if this does any
I look
better.
like Tim Carter. Yeah, Dorf on Wade and Carter. MTV.
Is that one any better? Does that give
There's
you
nothing there.
nothing there?
Is there a button that's not pushed? You know that sometimes they push those magic buttons.
No, I don't see any buttons.
Very interesting. No problems, no issues. We don't get excited anymore. Worst case, we just go home, do it again tomorrow. Pays the same, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You got nothing on that mic. You might as well try to join me on this mic.
I got nothing on nothing. I tell you, nothing.
It's dead, I tell you.
Is that any better? Still anything?
No,
All I'm picking up is you on this mic too.
you got nothing. I don't understand why. That's okay. It's
We
first
got one
night.
mic.
Last night, the folks at Magic were working hard and moved everything over here. And this one microphone works, and this is the mic that was sitting there when I came in. Our 2 mics are here. The cables are hooked up. Everything's hooked into the board. But we've got a bag of nothing on the mic. The good news is we can share this microphone. We've done it before. Like Conway and Loretta, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. He's trying. There's
Any better?
no. All I hear is the echo of you coming through this mic.
Yeah.
So this way I won't interrupt you. Tell me something, and then we'll take turns talking here. We can share this microphone. It'll be like old school radio.
Well, Joe Biden basically is going to kill the Keystone XL pipeline project, which would have added something like 600,000 barrels a day of carrying capacity to the XL pipeline infrastructure. And I guess that's going to be his first executive order when he takes office tomorrow.
Very proud of himself. President Biden will get used to saying that, folks. President Biden doing his part for the red darter, probably like a little lizard somewhere, and then also the economy or the ecology in general by getting rid of big bad petrochemicals. We're just going to shut that pipeline down and all the jobs and all the revenue that go with it. That's what we're going to do because that's what we do because we're Democrats and we care. We care so much. Never mind that Keystone operates pipelines all over the country with no incident. This is good for the ecology. It'll take care of it.
And not only that, it devastates the Texas of Canada because this was carrying oil from Alberta, primarily down to Texas, to be refined and then shipped out as gas and other products to around the world. So just another nail in the coffin for Albertans who, I won't go there, but there was a vast majority of them who were happy to see Donald Trump out of the White House, and now you're reaping what you sow.
Right, as they end up unemployed and lacking in revenue, they're excited because they got rid of the orange man. He was bad. You know, the country had become a net exporter of fuel, and Biden apparently doesn't like that designation. Going to get rid of that, doing us all a favor of protecting the environment. Joe Biden and the Democrats. What you got? It's the challenges of old school radio. You need like a sound effects guy. Yeah.
Trying to find what we need.
Here comes Ashley.
There you go.
I wish you could call. We don't have a phone yet. Steve Kidder says we're in mono. He misses the stereo version.
Jeff Fonseca said we're sharing the mic like the Carpenters. That's an old reference. Speaking of which, driving in this morning, I hear Mary Lou Retton pushing a product to help with menopause, and it kind of hit me. Geez, we are that old, aren't we? That Mary Lou Retton's pushing menopause products. She was America's sweetheart in 1984.
True story. You'll remember that she was the darling of the '84 Olympics, the gymnast extraordinaire, and married a guy that from Houston, Shannon Kelly, played a little quarterback at Texas, wasn't very good, but he did marry Mary Lou Retton, and she's done very well for herself. She's had all kinds of business ventures, most of them centering around athletics, but now she's going to hawk menopause. I mean, what does that tell you? We're old. She's only a couple of years younger than us.
Well, because she was, what, 16 in 84? Somewhere around there, right?
Yeah, probably. Because I was in college, I would say she was probably 4 years younger. Yeah, 16, 17.
Because gymnasts aren't in their 20s when they're competing at the Olympics. 16 is kind of old for a gymnast.
Yeah, the ones at the highest levels, by the time the kids end up competing in college, they've either missed their window or they're at their window for the Olympics. So it's not like they get out of college at 22 and then go on. Now, what is Daniel Wade White telling us?
He says, well, I can't tell.
Said if it's a powered mic, turn the mic switch on. Yeah. And if it's powered board, no, same board we used to have. I don't know what the problem is.
I just wonder, so Daniel Wade White, when you have three names like that, you're either a radio guru or a serial killer. When you have three names, you use all three names.
He's a roadie.
There you go. Sheriff Louderback checking in. Sheriff, we're just playing the cards they dealt us. I'm sitting on a chair, little fireside chat motif. Ash has one microphone that works. We've reached out to management. You would have thought that management would be here today with maybe some type of a fruit basket or something for us when we show up.
All right, let's see. You're not hearing me, but
can y'all hear him on that microphone?
Can you hear me on this microphone, or am I coming through that microphone? I don't hear anything in my headphones.
Yeah. And you sound like you're over there
Yeah.
across the room, like when Brother Gary yells at us across the room. It makes for a long hour.
It sure does.
No,
There's nothing there, right?
Nothing.
Bring that one back.
What did Lilo tell you?
He said they all work.
No, they don't work. Lilo,
Oh, yeah.
come on by and talk to us.
I'll bring this one back over. I feel like I'm a roadie.
I do. I feel sorry for our listeners. They're so patient. They're so kind. And we're so spared.
You're sounding good.
I sound as good as I'm
yeah.
going to sound. That's what's scary. This is it, folks. Do not adjust your sets.
I see I don't know where this is coming through, whether it's coming through your mic.
I think you're coming through, you're like the echo in the other room. It's,
Let's see. There's a little bit there, but not much.
we can't blame anybody. It just is what it is. He says, let it go, Ash. Let it go. Good morning, Scott Tom Code, top fan. Folks, we're getting to
This ain't
watch.
frozen, folks.
There it goes. That's better. Getting to watch the sun start to come up. This is our first day. We are looking straight downtown out of this window.
I've got to get right into this thing just to kind of get anything.
There you go. Get up on it like
That's
John
it.
Bon Jovi.
I'm going to end up with the COVID again.
Yeah, you could. That's the.
So, anything, folks? Any feedback at all?
Yeah, you hear
It heard me better before I touched the button, but I didn't. All I did was hit the on-off switch. I didn't touch any buttons.
Right.
That I
Sheila
shouldn't be.
Hawkins is watching you. She's watching you exactly.
It was good until I straightened out your mic.
Good morning, HR. So from our vantage point here, we can look kind of west and see the old CPL or the old AEP power plant. We can see the Victoria Advocate Building, which used to be known as Warren Connor Plaza, now is the Advocate Mega Production Building.
Oh, you're looking that way. I'm looking this way and seeing the HEB sign at the end of Laurent and Rio Grande.
That's about what we can see from Laurent.
There's nothing.
We look south to Laurent and pan around and see all the way downtown.
We're going to have to do this show from my knees and feel like Elvis at the end of the
Let's
concert.
see. Marty Stubber, that's Rose's brother-in-law, says, Ash, you sound far away like you're in a tin building, but we can hear you. So I'm going to share the mic with Ash. Ash is on his knees where he belongs.
There. Bring this down just a little bit. You're going to have to bend down a little bit. This is the most.
We can take turns on the chair.
The chair's no problem. But you got to tuck right into the front of this mic. So then we're going to have to kind of swing the mic a little bit. We'll get it sorted out.
If you're looking at us on Facebook, we look like Ida Caballero at the customs gate when they make you take your picture. You walk in and they tell you to stand there so you can take your picture, and that's what Ida looks like on the screen. She's not tall enough to. Kevin Myers says, "Morning, fellas. Let's start griping." Fair enough. Yeah, you can only see the top of her head. That's how Ida looks. I've seen the picture. Used to in the old days, they printed out a picture and made you take it to the gate. And Ash is adjusting things, but it's not helping.
There. Is that any better?
Poor Ida. Yeah, oh no, you look great over here, Ash. Come on.
Yeah, good. I'll stay over here.
Pretty excited. Apologize. We'll get this worked out. It'll be fun. BJ,
Still got a lot of headroom. Max headroom.
come on.
Better?
Oh yeah, it's all good. Come back because you're the guy with the content. I'm just here for the color commentary.
Interesting observation when we started locking everything down and people became fearful and we didn't want to go anywhere, do anything, be anywhere, come in contact with anybody. I hear a public service announcement this morning on the way in reminding people to get their cancer screenings. Don't put them off because early detection is still the biggest saver of life and the biggest key in cancer detection and the battle in cancer. So now we're starting to see the fallout from the COVID lockdowns because we've scared people to go and get the medical procedures they need done. And now we're having to do public service announcements to remind people that, oh, you've got to save your life. This is what you need to do. And we're gonna start seeing people who probably would have survived otherwise preventable deaths. That's gonna be the next wave, folks, is people who should have survived diseases that could have been caught early enough won't be surviving those diseases. And that kind of hit me this morning when I was driving in and listening to that.
Well, it's just the narrative changes with the wind. It's originally they're telling you stay home, don't go to the hospital. There's nothing, don't worry about your screenings. Well, those folks that find out now that they're stage 4 might have been in really a better position 6 months ago or a year ago. Some of these folks have gone a year without being
Screened.
There you go. James Curtis is on a serious note, especially, fellas. Get your colon and prostate screening. Prostate cancer, very slow growing usually, something that doctors can deal with. Usually it's contained. They can deal with that fairly well. Colon cancer, it's a little known fact, Canadians of Russian descent like Ash have an extra 6 feet of colon because they're full of it. And they can always just cut out a section on Ash and never miss a beat or a poop. Never miss anything. What do you got?
Scott Tomko says, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get people to stop thinking for themselves. Well, the problem was a lot of medical facilities stopped accepting anybody who basically wasn't COVID or life-threatening. So even if you needed your screening, you couldn't go get it.
Well, exactly. And you couldn't go to the hospital. And if you did, it's the other side that I always thought was sad was the elderly person that had to stay in the hospital and their loved one couldn't stay with them. That kind of stuff. I mean, it's sad. My dad has spent some time in the hospital. My mother, it's been more of a comfort for her to be there with him than it was even for him to have her there. So kind of sad. Randy Langston says, don't forget about the fake positives. False positives.
H.R. Mallory says an article on Fox today comparing California and Florida numbers, and per capita, they're about the same. California now seeing a surge in cases despite their strict lockdown. And again, it's a virus. It's going to do virusy things. And I don't know that, got into a discussion on COVID and back home in Alberta, where I grew up. 81% of the COVID-related deaths in that province have been in long-term care facilities. We see this play out time and again in a number of jurisdictions. And all it's telling me is we abandoned all of our knowledge of how to deal with contagious diseases, and instead of protecting the elderly and those most vulnerable, we basically abandoned them. We tried to shut down everybody else, and in the meantime, we're still losing our elderly at a rate that we shouldn't have if we would have done the right thing to begin with and protect them.
Well, the other side of that, Ash, is mathematically. At the governmental level, that's good. Somewhere there's a guy in D.C. whose job it is, and I don't fault this guy for having the job. It's his job to say, well, if 10% of the people over 80 die, what is the net effect on Medicare? What happens to the budget if 10% of the people in this country over 80 pass away? It's the same logic they used to use when they said, hey, we're going to raise the retirement age to 71. You guys are living longer, you're doing good. Well, for that 6 years where they don't pay Social Security to you from 65 to 71, they say, like 10,000 people a day in this country turn 65. When that happens, that's a huge financial drag on the country. When older folks who don't pay much relatively in taxes pass away, they're happy. The government's happy. In stereotype. So the problem that I run into is the only way to really be safe is probably to stay home. So too many folks put on a mask, wander out into public, and then wonder how they get sick. You touch the buggy. You touch the toilet handle. You touch the faucet in the bathroom. Then you wipe your face or you touch your eye. The mask gives you a false sense of security that I think we're saying that even though you feel better, why aren't you wearing a mask? Oh. The people in California have shown you people get sick at the same rate with or without the mask.
Yeah, North Dakota, South Dakota, the same thing. I think I've figured out where the super spreader is. Every supermarket you go into, they still got those crappy little produce bags that you can't open up without licking your fingers or somehow getting your fingers wet by touching wet produce.
True.
I mean, come on, folks. That industry, you've done everything else. You have people outside wiping down carts. You've got people at the door making sure that people don't come in without a mask and that you're not over your capacity limit. You've at times had people walking down aisles telling you to stay spread 6 feet apart, watch your social distancing. And you can't fix the masks that you got to sit there and fight with the damn things like this forever. And then you finally throw it down, or you're licking your hands, or you're going to get someone else to lick your fingers.
I am absolutely a guilty person when it comes to wiping my hands across like the zucchini to get my fingertips wet to open the plastic bag. And then I may or may not pick up that exact zucchini. That's a great point. You've seen me do that?
No.
Okay, I've done it. What does that say? Jimmy Pinion says, why don't you say strapped?
Stay strapped or get clapped.
There you go. George Washington, probably. Michelle Hawkins admits, I do the same thing, Brett.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, it's just human nature. You guys, there's nothing like the dew off of that leaf lettuce, that beautiful romaine that's in there, that salad lettuce. Reach in there and get your fingertips wet.
I found cilantro to be the perfect amount of condensation for that. Oh, so should we take our next break?
Yeah,
Let's take our next break.
let's at least get the breaks in.
Atzenoffer, since 1926, they've been selling Victoria and Victoria area Chevrolets. Along the years, they've added Mitsubishi, Mazda, Cadillac for the high-end buyers. And Atzenoffer.com is where you can go to shop from the safety and convenience of your living room, your office, the back porch, wherever you want to go. And they've got a great selection of used vehicles. They've got a nice late model, low mileage Lincoln Navigator on their website that they've discounted even further from the sticker if you buy it online. So just saying, it's a nice vehicle. Atzenoffer since 1926, Atzenoffer.com.
That's the second day in a row that you mentioned that, Lincoln. You kind of got your eye on that. You might find all your clothes in a white trash services dumpster.
That's all I've got on my eye on that. That's all I've got on that is my eye.
550-1826. Reach out to BJ and Scott Nelson and their team. They'll come out and hook you up with the service you need. When I visit with BJ, and they'll tell you some people need once a week, some people need a roll-on dumpster, some people need a smaller container more than once a week because of what they get rid of. Be aware that these guys, they do this for a living. They'll have to go, oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That makes sense. And they'll work with you. 550-1826. Same thing with Razor IT Solutions. JP Hull and his team will listen to you. They'll figure out what your analytics are telling you that you don't even understand. They'll help you secure your data. Make sure you're not getting ripped off by those pesky Russians or Chinese, even the Indians. Not Indians, not Native Americans. So reach out to Razor IT Solutions. JP will help you monetize your website, bring in money. Also, while you're out today, it's a great day to drive by Uncle Mud's Barbecue. They open about 11. You're not going to get in a hurry. You can't rush quality. But they got brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, turkey, all the side dishes. Give the waiting card a piece salad and tell them waiting card sent you for the iced tea. And you'll be glad you did. Ash has been over here just scurrying. The truth is, Tuesday is my least favorite day to do the show because it's historically, is a slow news day. We've all been waiting for the apocalyptic. What's going to happen? Is Donald Trump going to just go into the sunset? Is there going to be chaos in DC? I've seen more videos. They have spent a ton of money trying to. Terry Murray had you can give that in just a second. They've spent a ton of money putting up barricades on something that's going to be virtual. I don't understand why there's not going to be a parade, and yet they've got a huge parade route roped off. They're telling people don't come to DC, but it looks like, honestly, I should expecting 1 million people there.
Well, they closed the National Mall. So that's where, 500,000 to 1 million people typically congregate. So they're not going to be there. They've got checkpoints going in and out of the city. So that's not going to happen. People aren't, DC right now, from anybody that is in the area, is basically deserted. They just, what was I reading this morning? That they authorized 750, the Pentagon authorized 750 active duty troops to assist in the security efforts surrounding President. Because 25,000 wasn't enough. Now you got to take it to almost 26,000. It's like Spinal Tap. We're going to 11.
He was the overwhelming choice. 80 million people plus voted for the guy. What's he so scared of? Our live videos been interrupted. Tom Ennis, world's greatest neighbor in town version, says, hey, when he goes to HEB, he grabs one of the wipes
So
that
does
they provide at the door.
It's Terry Murray's trick.
Terry Murray says the same thing. There you go. Grabs the wipe, that provides the moisture. And there you have it. Yeah, but I kind of like dragging my hand across the cilantro. I'm like Joe Biden. They're just kids playing with the hair on my legs, that kind of stuff. Creepy Joe.
Kamala Harris resigned her Senate seat, replaced by California Secretary of State Alex Padilla, Democrat. I wondered if that triggers a special election in the state of California, or will he serve out the remainder of the 6 years? I guess. I don't even know if she was up for election. I don't think she was up for election this time. But I'm still convinced that anytime you're elected, you run for office, you should have to give up the seat that you're currently in. And they can run that seat during that election cycle, whether it's a special election or not. I look like I'm still connected. Could just be here.
It appears we got kicked off Facebook. But, the fun never stops. You just have to. We live in a fluid environment here in radio. It is one thing about live radio. It doesn't even bother me anymore. It used to give me anxiety. That sound you hear is people clicking away from our program. They're going down to other states. I've tried to find. I don't know what else you would listen to at this time of day. NPR maybe. But Ash is trying to get us started again. He's very, very good, very thoughtful young man. But it's not. It ain't working. Oh, he thinks it's working now. We're like the Keystone Cops over here. No kidding.
Today we are.
It won't take but a couple of days. We'll get it all squared away. BJ Nelson, faithful watcher.
I bet you were sideways again.
She's looking to see where we have management coming in now. Management is here. That ought to help us. We got dead microphones. We knew we didn't have internet. We're using a hotspot off of the Apple iPhone 12 that I got at the BCS company, or the locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. We're on microphone 1, Ralph. All the other mics are just dead. And this is working. And now, folks, everybody's just walked off and left me. So here I am.
It's working here. It's not working there.
So BJ Nelson says she can see us now. We're not real caught up on seeing ourselves. So I can turn these on for Ralph and let him know that we have. Uh-oh, he just found one.
They had a switch on and off.
So I've switched them.
Yeah.
Is there anything now?
There you are.
Everyone's working now.
Yeah, we did play with that, I promise.
Okay.
Well, that helps. Now we have another microphone.
There we go.
Now, we might as well
Is
get
it-
Ralph on
yeah.
over here.
Is it check? Yeah, there it is.
So is that 2 or 3?
That's 2, I think. Check. Yep, I think we're good now.
There you go. Ralph's like, I had to get up a half hour early for this.
It's like taking your car to Atzenhofer for service. As soon as you get there,
Yeah, that's.
There's no problem, yeah.
Window works.
Yeah. everything's working as it should. We just had to call in management to get it done.
And then you get your car back and it just says CME for could not duplicate. And then they charge you $50.
So, but this one is still,
Yeah,
There's
that
nothing
one's-
on this one.
Let's see. Go ahead. No, it's dead.
that one's dead.
Yeah. But we don't need that one.
No.
We get your coffee.
We're good now. So
That's crazy.
I think, I don't know, maybe, I
know
probably
he
can't
thinks-
see me now.
He thinks we're nuts, but the reality is we did piddle with that for a while. Can you get that
Yeah.
turned there?
No, it's pretty tight.
Well, the last 20 minutes of this show are gonna be terrific.
Aren't they though?
It's gonna be great. It's like a Jewish honeymoon. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Flames won last night.
There you go.
Played a sorry first period after shutting out Vancouver the other night, 3-0.
Do they apologize when they do that?
No, they just came out flat and uninspired and were down 1-0. If not for Jacob Markstrom in net, the Flames would have been down 3 or 4-0 after one, and that game would have been over. Instead, they're lucky. I'm sure Coach ripped them a new one in the locker room in between periods because the Flames came out in the second period and put a 3 spot on them. Took a 3-1 lead into the third. They went at 5-2 going away.
Funny you say that because 3 seasons ago, I remember hockey season ending, you being emotionally devastated. Flames went home early. You blamed it entirely on the lack of a good goalie. And now you're saying that they have a guy in goal that you like.
He's shown up pretty good for 3 games.
Was there some icing? Were there people passing the blue line? Was there some high sticking?
There was some high sticking. There were some bad penalties, a little bit of rough stuff. Business after the whistle.
Giving them the business a
Yeah,
little bit?
I didn't see any fights though, but I went to bed early. I couldn't stay up for the third period. I fell asleep in the chair with Fat Bella on my lap.
I am still 100% winter sports, icy sports. They appeal to me. I have a soft spot. And I still very much want curling at UHV. I think we can dominate the South. I don't know why we don't have it.
So Garth Brooks joining the lineup of those who will perform at President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration.
After that, he'll be playing in Branson with the Dixie Chicks.
Just the chicks now.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez, Lady Gaga also playing. Is this going to be a live performance? Are they going to stream this in? Do we know how this is all going to work?
Is he going to sing that, "We shall be free"? Garth, fat Garth, eating biscuits from Trisha
Yeah.
Yearwood.
She can cook though.
She can cook, but everything she's like, hey, here's some post toasties. And just add a little bacon grease. Hey, Trisha, what's your cholesterol? What?
You have any room to ask that question?
My cholesterol's good.
Thanks to 8 statins that you're on.
Thanks to Tina. You know, I don't take any meds except Adderall and maybe a little vitamin.
A little blue pill.
That's it. Yeah. Little. Double dose that. No, I tell you what, I think that Garth Brooks,
Kill myself.
J-Lo doesn't surprise me, Lady Gaga doesn't surprise me, but Garth Brooks, a little bit of a surprise. I think it's an honor. It's kind of like if I got invited to the White House, I would go out of respect for the office. But there's an implication there that Garth Brooks would be a supporter of Joe Biden, and I find that interesting, or against stereotype when his audience is probably 80-20 Trump.
Yeah, I don't know that it means anything.
He's already sold 100 million records.
What does he care? Yeah, no. Yeah. He doesn't care. Ain't gonna hurt his
Vegas concerts.
Right, he's got enough money, he doesn't care what people think.
No. But but I don't see Republicans going to get mad at Garth Brooks for going to play that. But the Democrats and the media are all aghast that President Trump is not going to have tea and crumpets with the Bidens prior to the inauguration at the White House and welcome them in.
Well, it's like you pointed out, they've attacked him twice, they've impeached him twice. Biden wants anyone to fight him.
Yeah.
It's
So-
difficult. It's not hard for me to see why Trump would say, forget it, man. He knows his
So-
way around this building.
So you're breaking, you're breaking a lot of traditions. I get that. But the last 4 years, Congress has broken a ton of traditions. There's been no decorum when it comes to respecting the president of the office. And you could argue, well, the president doesn't respect the office either, whatever, sticks and stones.
Right.
He's not a typical president and politician because he's not a typical politician and president.
I agree. I know exactly what you're saying.
He was elected to drain the swamp, and my biggest criticism of it is he didn't go in there fast enough and start doing it. He brought swampish people into his inner circle,
Yeah, he let some cleaners hang around.
Kelly and a few others, and they ended up biting him in the backside.
Correct.
And instead, he should have got rid of him. He never should have brought him in to begin with. But I think he tried to do what Republicans are doing once again, and that's playing nice. And if we've learned anything in the last 4 years, you can play within the system to try to fix the system, but you definitely cannot play nice because the Democratic Party does not play nice. They don't care. They will do anything and everything to assume the power in Washington, D.C., and to keep that power. We've seen it play out over the last 4 years.
And there's no reason to believe that a peaceful transition of power has to mean a pleasant transition of power. They don't like each other. There's no reason to deal with the hypocrisy of pretending they like each other.
I screwed up again, but
No,
that's
no,
okay.
you look great. I don't care if you're sideways. As long as that signal.
Shirt's crisp. That's good. We're good. We're good today. Speaking of signal getting out, this new location has many benefits, including a stronger signal power. So not only are we within the confines of Victoria city limits, but we're getting well out towards Corpus Christi and all in the region. So grateful to Magic for giving us a new home, and can't wait for things to be better
Yeah, very
tomorrow
exciting.
and every day going forward. Speaking of better, Uncle Mutt's Barbecue. It doesn't get any better than that than Uncle Mutt's. Brisket ribs, turkey, sausage, chicken, all your favorite sides, including Brent's favorite pea salad. I like their grilled potatoes and their cabbage. But stop on by today for the daily special. They make a really good chili as well. Even though I know it's warming up a little bit, it's still a little wet, a little damp. Might be a good day to go get a bowl of chili or a chili potato or whatever.
I've never had the chili, but you told me on numerous occasions that it's like really good.
Yeah, when I had taste buds, I could taste the chili.
Right.
Although surprisingly, this morning I have a little bit of a taste of my coffee, which I have not had
You're still
much
not
of.
tasting things?
No.
I did not know that.
9 months in, and I mean, Saturday morning, my first cup of coffee had flavor. After that, nothing. Today is the second cup of coffee since COVID that I can actually taste.
Wow. I did not know that. You know, throw a big party, we'll have a group over. Reach out to the Great Barn, 920-6803. Reach out to Cheryl. Give her some ideas. Give her some parameters. She'll help you decorate in such a way that you'll love your party. You might as well attend your party too. Too often we throw parties. We entertain By the time that the party actually happens, you're so worn out, you just want to go to bed. Let Cheryl do that. She'll go home and go to bed while you party. 9206803, that's the Great Bar. Wind Services, you get the head of the video.
No,
Wind Services
all
can
right.
power your party, whether it be through solar panels, through a backup electric generator, solar panels with a battery backup, or maybe just a new plug, you just need some service. Out of the 2-4, I asked you a new plug. Wind came out, gave us some ideas, put in a different breaker, added power to Lower's bar. Helping out a bunch. 578 Home, HOME, that'll put you in touch with Charlie Garcia. And USA Concrete Coatings. Pool service, pool deck. You'll put down a new sidewalk, porch, patio.
product that's 4 times stronger than epoxy. It's fade resistant.
Dog run. Kennel.
Looks really nice.
Very nice.
Bottom
Kitchen.
line.
I like a kitchen. Like at a cabin, you can just rinse that thing right now. It won't absorb grease. It won't, it's just easy. Easy peasy, little squeeze.
Bottom floor in Port O'Connor, somewhere along the beach. Yep.
It will just be hosed out.
Peter Nally says we're horizontal on my screen. Yeah, we had to reboot Facebook, and I screwed that up. I did not realize.
Make a note though, Ash had a lot to do with this, and if you'll notice, the screen leans heavily to the right. It's leaning heavily to the right because Ash was involved. Me, moderate at best, probably a little bit liberal compared to most. That's the way I would view this.
That's the way you want to be viewed.
Being self-aware is a very important characteristic, and I think that rightfully so, I view it as a liberal. What are you looking at?
A liberal.
Yeah, very.
In the literal definition of liberal, not the current political definition of liberal. Johnny Houghton says, I was always a little sideways anyway. There you go.
You know something I
Jeff Fonseca
understand?
says, wow, you still can't taste.
When you when you're breaking down, forget the management of the people. And I'm being sincere. I've always known that being a Nazi, a National Socialist, was bad. I mean, I knew that was bad because of the way that they dealt with people. But were they just socialists as far as their politics? I don't understand. I'm being sincere. I don't know. I'm asking Peter McNally to know. I'm being sincere. I get it that I would think you could be socialist without rounding people up. I mean, that's what the Democrats in this country are now. So far, they haven't rounded anybody up. But if you're a fascist, are you extremely to the right or the left? Does the government own everything when you're a fascist? I don't know. I'm more libertarian at heart. I'm like,
probably
leave me
me too.
alone, protect the shores, balance the budget. Let's all chip in for some roads and some defense, and then leave me alone. You know?
Jeremy Pena says Cheryl's probably cooking with no spices just to make me think still have the Rona.
She's getting, she seasons everything for her in the kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, this is yours in the side pot over here.
Right? Nobody's answering you there. I thought.
I think when you look at the political spectrum, fascists, I think on the right. Yeah, I think so. But I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I really. And I think it's a dangerous thing when we label ourselves. I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat. What happens to the guy? What happens to the man who says, I totally believe in a woman's right to choose, and I'll pick up my AR to defend her right to do so.
Well, in this day and age, you can't do that as a man.
Right? He's not a
You
Republican.
have no right saying anything regarding women's reproductive rights.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
But if you were to stand up for a woman's right to choose, then a lot of people would say you're a Democrat. But if you do that using a weapon, then you're a Republican, and there's not a place for you. There's not a party for you.
Peter McNally says fascist is Hitler. James Kerr says extremely to the government being in control. I have a problem trying to assign and I know it's political science talk, but
Right.
I have a problem assigning that to any extreme left or right. I mean, you get to that point, you're a nut job. Plain and simple.
There you have it.
But I think personally, I believe there's a lot more in common with fascists and communists than there are otherwise. They both want strict control. The difference, if you look, Hitler believed in communism wants to control all the means of production and all the wealth, right? And then redistribute it.
Right. Like the Democrats.
Hitler was similar in a vein, but he realized he couldn't do all that. So he went to the folks at Volkswagen and said, okay, you're going to build the people's car. We're going to give you that opportunity.
Okay.
Those are some of the differences, I think, but they're very similar. They control it. It's probably the more modern analogy for that would be how, at least from my observation, is how the Communist Chinese Party is controlling the capitalist aspects of the Chinese economy. You can't just go out, erect 4 square walls and put your shingle out and say you're open for whatever business you want to be in China. The government's going to have a hand in it.
It's like cutting a deal with the mafia.
Yeah, very much
You
so.
look at Schindler's List, which was based on a true story, and Mr. Schindler was allowed to amass great wealth while working in a strict contract with the Nazi Party. Right? And then he turned around and freed a lot of folks.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of wealth being generated in communist China, but the hand is very much in the kettle from the Chinese Communist Party.
There's Heather Monroe in MRO, very efficient Canadian.
Checking in from Toronto.
Toronto.
I think the Leafs won last night.
Go Leafs.
No.
No. Go Flames.
The Flames, go Rangers.
Islanders.
Rangers, no Islanders.
Islanders are a hockey team too, right?
Yes,
So it's like the Nets and the
Knicks.
Knicks.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Jets and the Giants. The Yankees and the Mets.
Wow.
Yes.
Like one of those teams is good. The Yankees. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a lot of really bad athletics going on in New York.
No, there's the haves and the have-nots, I think, is kind of how it plays out in New York athletically.
How about that?
Austin Hicks says, go Dallas Stars. They're still struggling to get off the ground just because of COVID-related issues.
You got to figure that old North Star jersey has got to have some value now, right? That's been around a while.
Yeah, the Minnesota Wild, which was the expansion team that replaced the old Minnesota North Stars when they fled south to Dallas to become the Dallas Stars. Little known fact, there was a lot of rumor they were going to become the Dallas Lone Stars. And I'm reading a book now kind of on the history of logos and uniforms and team names. It's pretty interesting read from the NHL and how much say the NHL has and has had over the years in approving team names, approving logos and uniform colors. It's interesting that the league has had that much control over as Gary Bettman became commissioner and the league became more intentional in its image and marketing. You know, team owners didn't exactly have all the ability to say, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
The league had a large role in it. Maybe not so much with the names. And it's the other interesting thing over the years, and this spans, we're going back, and it'd be interesting to see if some of these names were similar for the NFL or Major League Baseball expansion. But regardless of the area, the nickname Cougars, and that was the precursor to the Detroit Red Wings, the Detroit Cougars, and then they changed their name. But that name has surfaced amongst the finalists of almost every expansion or relocated NHL team in the last century. It's interesting that Cougars is one that seems to transcend.
Beautiful predator cat.
Yeah. But it's interesting that one sort of transcends all regions of the country, even though some regions may not have a Cougar.
Tina just sent me a deal today. What's that lady's name? Maxwell?
Just Lane?
That lady. That today they're having some type of a hearing, and you can actually call and listen in if you want to. I wonder if Jeffrey Epstein will be flown into the Gitmo testify.
pick her up. I don't know.
Yeah.
James Curse asks, what's up with deploying active duty troops to DC? Is that not martial law? But DC isn't a state, so is that the workaround? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one.
750 troops, just 750 that they're taking in. It sure seems to me that there's an inordinate amount of fear. I mean, I have to ask, does anybody really think that aside from something official, that like Trump is all of a sudden just going to like go crazy and start rampaging through?
If you're going up there this time to cause trouble, you deserve anything coming your way, as you did at the Capitol. And as you do anytime you resort to violence.
Yeah, I've got no problem with if you're dumb enough to go up there and cause a ruckus. Getting shot is an option at this inauguration. We have a statement to make to the world. Of course, that's a statement that they don't want to make. It's an enduring, it would last. If somebody was shot in the street in DC, that image be shown globally. Oh, sure, they peacefully transfer power. They killed this guy. You hope it doesn't come to that.
I'm curious to know if any local Democrats are going to go to Washington, D.C. to help celebrate this inauguration. Are they going to amass? We heard, prior to January 6th, we knew a lot of Republicans and Trump supporters are going to go to Washington, D.C. and listen to the president speak. I'm curious if that's going to happen. But if it does and trouble breaks out, you know where it's going to end up, right?
Jeff Fonseca comes in with a jewel. There are cougars in every city. Go to happy hour at Embassy Suites.
That's true.
And you will run into them.
This predates the term,
That's nice.
but yeah,
Like, I have no desire to be in Washington, D.C. right now. None. And
No.
if I'm a Democrat, I don't really want to go up there just to say I was in the city when Biden was sworn in the basement of the White House.
Do you want to go up there and potentially get caught up in the problems and the trouble, and now you're that innocent victim that the media is reporting?
Yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time?
Totally agree. Could happen to anybody, but you don't want to be that guy.
No, I don't think so.
So what do you think, Bart? Are these digs going to work out? I mean,
I
I
like
like
they
the
will.
view. The view is nice. It's easy to get to. We're actually in Laurent Tower, kind of just barely south of Red River by Baptist Temple Church, kind of right behind what used to be the old Albertsons. Most of you know where it is. Big white building, 6 stories.
Yeah, we're on Laurent between Red River and the Houston Highway, or Rio Grande at that point.
Yeah.
Still.
I'm looking down there. I can see.
It's a little gloomy view this morning, but it'll be a nice one
A little cloudy.
on a sunshiny day. It'll be a nice view.
I'm believing too, by the way, that you can hear us better on Magic 95.9. Like I said, the VCS companies came in and put in, instead of one antenna, we have like 2, and you can believe that there's a cable. There's about 2.
I see that, yeah.
They're not messing around.
No, that's one that in a movie you swing off of,
Right.
and
Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
Like,
style.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
or you can cut it with a machete and all the lights go out for the entire village. It's that kind of deal.
James Kerr asks if we're right above the VA clinic. We're a couple floors above the VA clinic, but yes,
Yeah,
that
I've been
building.
there to the roof of the VA.
Yeah.
The VA actually fronts Laurent, and it's that front 1-story building, and we're up on the top.
Austin Hicks says loves the show and love being able to listen to it while taking the kids to school.
We appreciate
So there you go.
that, Austin. for
It's good
real.
feedback.
Yeah. Floor, we have antennas on the roof. Very excited. And we're about out of time,
Yeah,
which really couldn't happen sooner than today.
not today.
But tomorrow, we're going to get her earlier. The video, so here's some promises.
Marvin Maker says there's a weird humming noise on the radio.
The video, well, that's your subwoofer,
That's the hamsters running
right?
the wheel of powers
We
this place.
appreciate your patience and your your support, please reach out to our sponsors. They love it when you walk in and say, I want the Wayne Garden discount. They really do. It makes them giggle. And it lets them know
That you listen.
That you listen. So thanks so much. Have a great day. Be safe on the roads, please. The roads are damp. Expect some rain over the next couple of days.